All right, welcome to another episode of the Two Shots podcast. And today I'm going to be joined by a very special guest. I'm going to be joined by two actual special guests here. First guest is going to be the one and only Vicky Vic. Hey, Vicky.
Hey.
And the second guest is going to be our good friend here, Josh Paredes of Air Alamo. And it's this is like getting the gang back together again, Josh. So thanks for being a guest here on Two Shots.
Yeah, of course, man. I'm glad to be back with the crew and excited to talk about some Spurs. It's a lot of stuff going on.
There is a
Yes.
lot of stuff going on, and the big news of the hour, or even yesterday, the news broke that one DeJounte Murray has been named to the NBA All Star Game as a reserve for Draymond Green. This is kind of huge news because Spurs fans have been wanting something to get excited about this season. It hasn't really worked the way that everybody envisioned because it is a rebuilding season. But having one of your own being named to the NBA All Star game is huge news, seeing that the last time we had a Spur make the NBA All Star game itself was none other than LaMarcus Aldridge, who is no longer with the team.
Right.
This is big. Everybody was excited. I know I was when I first saw this news. I was like, yes, finally, DJ is an NBA All Star, and it was well deserved. Josh, what did you think? What was your reaction?
Oh man, I mean, what can you say? It's such an exciting time. For me, it came at it just on a selfish level. It came at at a bad time because I had just spent the whole morning and afternoon writing. So I was like, I finally done around 3 o'clock, and I sat on my couch, and like immediately saw a text from my group for Air Alamo, and they're like, oh, freaking out. I'm like, what happened? Just sat down, and then I saw it. I was like, oh my god! So of course, I had to get back to my computer, start writing it up, and just very happy though to write that up because I did not expect that. Honestly, there's a history of the Spurs being snubbed, and Adam Silver has a whole history of not really making the right choices when it comes to the Spurs, and it's been continuing this year. I thought maybe he would like go with Anthony Davis because he's had a big week, even though he's missed almost half the season. So just seeing that, I was like, okay, it's done. Sham said it. It's official. So it's just very exciting. I think it can open the door for the Spurs. You can say they have an all-star to pair with now. Can recruit over the offseason. It's going to lead to a lot of good things. And just to see him do this in his first season, basically as the guy, with DeMar gone, and he only had the ACL surgery a couple years ago, and he's already at this point. Just so much more to say, but I'll sprinkle it in here and there. Let Vicky give her thoughts also.
Vicky, what were your thoughts other than you
Yeah.
probably
I I was super shocked. I wasn't expecting it either. I mean, it's been something that hasn't happened for the Spurs, or it didn't happen last year. And, even with the big three, it was kind of hit or miss whether or not they got recognized to be an all-star. So to see this while the Spurs are, obviously not doing so great, not within playoff contention and all of those factors that seem to play into players getting the call up, it was really nice. And I think what really helped is probably having all of that player dialogue happening supporting DeJounte, which was really, really awesome to see different players from around the league saying that he deserved it. So, yeah, I was shocked, but happy, and he totally deserves it, like 100%. But yeah, I'm happy. It like Josh said, it gives the Spurs like that added bonus. They have an all-star on their team now, and it's a huge boost for DeJounte, even though he continually says that it's not, it's whether or not he got the call up, he wasn't really going to pay too much attention to it. But you can tell that he's really happy.
Yeah, we have a comment here from Jason Salinas who's watching on Facebook. Thanks for watching, Jason. He puts, if it wasn't for the other players and the TV guys, Adam would have picked
It's
someone else.
very possible, man.
That's
It's very
true.
possible he would find Anthony
Hey,
Edwards because he dunks.
that's a good thing though,
Yes.
because it's ironic how DeJounte, his agent, is with Clutch Sports, right?
Yeah.
Draymond Green's agent with Clutch Sports.
That's right.
Hey, it's good to be part of a bigger family because things like
Good
this can
PR.
happen in your favor,
And
And
yeah,
other
that was really cool of Draymond. And also, I had
Yeah.
tuned into CJ McCollum's podcast, and he mentioned that he had was kind of like leaning toward DeJounte being in it, and they said he deserves it. He even
Oh,
said he should be first team all defense. So I mean, there was a lot of just people backing DeJounte for being the selection. So I'm glad there was, because who knows who
yes.
Silver would have gone with otherwise.
True enough, because I mean, Silver at this juncture, when you're going to select a reserve, he can pick anybody he thinks deserves the nod. At this
Yeah.
point, he
I mean, he
probably
picked Mike Conley last year, and I mean, all
there you
respect, he deserved it one of the other years, but not when
la-
Not last
DeMar's
year.
entire stat line was better than his. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know if you saw from Paul Garcia. There's a breaking Paul Garcia pipe bomb here.
It's
Oh
not
no.
a Paredes pipe bomb.
No, it's Paul. I have to give credit to Paul here. So about how you said Murray was happy about he says that Murray says Coach Popovich was the one who called him and told him he's going to Cleveland, and that he broke down crying with his family. So I thought that's really cool that that's how Pop got to have that moment with Murray and tell him. And
Aww.
then he said he wouldn't change it for anything. The Spurs organization was perfect for me after being picked 29th. So I guess they're having the media session right now.
There we go.
And
We're
there you
going to
go.
go ahead
There's
and
the
share
call.
that.
Project Spurs pipe bomb.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and share that. It's Project Spurs, and I'm showing the tweet right here. It says DeJounte Murray says Pop was the one who called him and told him he was going to Cleveland. He's an all-star. Says, like you said, Josh, he says Murray broke down at home with his family. I mean, special moment there,
Mm,
for him and his family because of all the struggle and everything that he's gone through with, you know, having his injury, his ACL tear, coming back from that, rehabbing, and then having a full season uh, where he's free from injury, happened last
right.
season. Then having to deal with DeMar being gone, still, being that guy and elevating his game and trying to help this team win every single night, even though he's
Yes.
almost putting up a triple double every single night to try to help this team stay
Yeah.
relevant. He's doing what he can, and you
He's
could see
doing
that
amazingly.
he's doing an amazing job, and you can see that he's a competitor. He wants to go out there, and he believes so strongly in this team and the guys that are out there on the court with him. He's willing to give them
Mhm.
everything he's got. He just needs for them to come along, and you got to be patient with these guys. I know that
Yeah.
Dejounte kind of says some things in social media, and it doesn't really mean like he's attacking these guys. You can kind of tell the frustration in him in some of the
Mhm.
comments that he puts out there. But it's normal, when you're playing at such a high level, you're being recognized not only by the league and your peers, other players on other teams. You're finally getting this nod to show that your hard work, in fact, was noted and you are worthy of being an NBA All Star. And shame on those Spurs fans who always said DeJounte would not be that guy. He would never be an NBA All Star. Everybody had their fun yesterday. Let's put it like that. I'm not going to name names and call people out. That's not what this is about. But it's funny how the fan base reacted, Josh. You have it's like split in the
Fan
middle.
base
Right?
is using that term loosely. I think I don't really
Yeah.
group fans.
It's
But that's a
crazy.
whole other thing.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
crazy because first Twitter is wild, man. You
Yeah.
got half the fan base who's like so happy that DeJounte is an NBA All Star. And then you have the other half that
It's not half,
oh,
Joe. You're giving them way too much credit. There's
man.
like 7 of them.
I'm telling you, I saw a whole bunch of people, man.
You're saying too
People,
many. You're following too many people. Then
well, it's a
Yeah.
lot of people that I follow that retweet them, and it's the usual suspects, but there's other people on there, and it's like, man, they were going hard yesterday trying to discount Dejounte getting the NBA All Star nod, going as far as saying he didn't deserve it. He's a reserve. It doesn't really matter. I'm like, it does matter. Why can't people just be happy that he just got in to the NBA All Star game and just leave it at that,
people
and
just
then
can't be happy about anything. That's the problem. So it doesn't
they
matter what
can't.
happens. That's just how some people are going to deal with it, and that's fine. But meanwhile, we can be happy for uh, what DeJounte does. Another thing about DeJounte is, like, sure, he says he's kind of weird on social media sometimes, but things that really matter, like they asked him about being snubbed, and he just says he doesn't really care. I mean, I'm sure he kind of does deep down, but he
Yeah.
really just wants to win. I'm sure he would give up all the triple doubles just for a playoff appearance. He's that kind of
Mhm.
attitude. So, of course, you
Selfless.
can tell it means something whenever he's selected and he breaks down, which is understandable given all he's undergone. But it's really cool to see him rewarded for having the right attitude and the work he
Right.
puts in all the time. It's really awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. But
And it's awesome to see that he puts all the credit toward the Spurs too, and the organization, and how they've developed with him, and giving him this opportunity. He's super grateful for where he's at, and I think he recognizes that if he were in any other place, he may have been traded, or not even given the benefit of the doubt after going through the injury he went through. So I think it is a really big deal for him on a developmental level, personally too, because he's still young, and he's, starting finally to reap those benefits that I think he thought he could have gotten earlier in his career.
yeah, and all these things that you're saying, they're all true. He's worked so hard; he deserves the nod. I'm just going to enjoy watching him be there representing the San Antonio Spurs organization, which is
Those
huge.
ugly jerseys.
Yeah, yes. Ooh.
Hey,
They
we'll
need to
take
do
it at this
something.
point.
Yeah, and they need to they need to hire somebody to go ahead and design these jerseys. I mean, the mecca of what the jerseys were in the 90s. The 90s had style, man, when it came to
Yeah.
NBA jerseys in general, for each individual team. But then when you're talking about the NBA All-Star game, they had some flair, they had some pizzazz to them, and now you go from that and you digress to what looks more like a trash bag. I'm like,
It looks like
you know,
warm-ups or like practice jerseys.
Yeah, like PE,
Yeah.
like you're about to play.
Yes. Yeah.
it's like the mesh stuff you're gonna wear when you're working out, in the back of the
Yes.
gym somewhere where there's no AC. It's like, come on, man.
Or
You
that
can do
game
something.
where you sit on the little carts and you're supposed to pull it out from the other. I don't know. I might be dating myself here, but
What?
I'll tell you about it later, Vicky. There's a game where you had to roll
Wow.
around on a little cart and you would try to pull it out from under other people. It was very dangerous and
What?
probably shouldn't have been for elementary school kids,
She
but
wants to play it now. You gave her an idea.
we'll try it.
I'm thinking of like those paint things, or like, when you like paint, or like you work on like under a car, like that, like flat
Yeah,
on the
I mean,
ground.
it's a little similar to that. Like you just sit on it though, and it has 4 wheels. I don't know what the
That's
point was.
A
hilarious.
little caddy you sit on. It's like a little stool that has the wheels on it. Yeah.
People
Oh,
run over your
wow.
fingers and stuff. Anyway, it's
It'll hurt. Oh, and we got
anyway,
some
very cool.
comments here.
Very cool.
Jason Salinas watching from Facebook says San Antonio has a lot of bandwagon fans.
Every
Okay.
team has
Yeah.
bandwagon fans. I mean,
True.
True though, I
you're-
mean,
yeah.
you do have those in the fan bases. They're always there. And I
Yeah.
was telling you, Vicky, the other day, it's like this, Vicky, when you see the Lakers calling or you see the Golden State Warriors calling, you see all of a sudden these fans wearing these jerseys, and the next day those
Yes.
same fans wearing their Spurs jerseys. So I get it. I
Yeah,
get it.
I posted the other day. I mean, with that year the Warriors were terrible. Their attendance plummeted. They went down a lot.
Yeah.
So everybody just loves winning. So you're
Yeah.
not going to see a lot of fans at the center when your team isn't
Right.
very good. That's just the thing. That's just human nature. So
Yeah.
you'll see when they get better. Hopefully, very soon. We'll see the real fans back. Maybe not real fans, but fans that kind of care
Appreciate
and not just only want to see Steph Curry.
Winning. Yes.
And
Oh.
VH Alzano the second's watching us on Facebook, and he says, "That's what it's about. He represents us well. Proud of the dude. Go Spurs, go!" Of course. Jason Salinas
Yeah.
said, "Need a billboard downtown with DJ. We need something. We need some type of
Oh,
recognition,
yeah. Congratulations.
That'd
We
be
Yeah.
should. The
Let
whole
'em know
city should pitch in and
Spurs Twitter
that's
should get a billboard done. We have a lot of great designers here. Come on, Spurs
yes.
Twitter, get to it."
Well, I don't know. I have a beef with the Spurs right now after they completely ripped off my tweet from earlier.
Really?
I should have
No.
prepped you for this, man, so you could have shown it. But
I'm gonna go look for it.
It's okay. It was funny. Like I was one. It was basically when they announced it. I had a GIF of them. I had a GIF of Keldon
Oh
hugging
yes, I remember that. I
Keldon
remember.
hugging
Oh
DJ. Yeah,
yes,
and I
the
said
whole
something like,
Spurs right
"Yeah,
now.
this
I'm
is
gonna go
all of
look
us
for it
right
now.
now.
I'm
He
gonna look for it.
represents all of us." Yeah, I just basically said Keldon represents all of us right now, and he's hugging
Yes.
DJ. And then like that
No,
was like
it is.
yesterday when it happened, and then this morning there was like almost an identical tweet
Okay,
from
I'm
them,
gonna. I'm
and
gonna.
I was like, "Hey," and so I
Ooh,
tweeted them.
There it is.
Yeah, there you go.
There's Josh's right.
that's it.
Josh. This
Keldon
is what
represents
he
all of
tweeted
us right
out.
now.
Yeah, this is the original tweet he put out.
Yeah, and it has the GIF of
Here's
them.
the one with the Spurs.
Keldon is all of us right now. Has him hugging. I
And
was
it
like,
No,
"Here, send me a care package, maybe an employment application."
or just
But
like
I
credit
mean,
you, like
no, I know.
at
I'm
you.
sure they didn't see it. They're busy, but I just thought it was hilarious because, you
It's
know,
the exact same
it's
tweet.
very similar.
they
First
just put Spurs Nation on Keldon. That's the
time, yeah, that's the only difference.
that was it.
Yeah, they did.
Anyways, I'm not mad at you, Spurs. You're still my favorite team, and
You're still
I don't
friends.
honestly care. I just wanted to point it out because it was pretty funny how very
That is
similar
funny.
they were.
Yeah, so moving
That's
on here,
hilarious.
getting away from the DeJounte Murray All-Star talk, which was a big deal. Um, and we talked about some of the reaction from the fan base as well, which is kind of weird in a way, but I know for the most part, everybody was pretty much happy about him getting the NBA All-Star
Yeah.
nod. We're going to go ahead and dive into some of the trade rumors that have been, swirling around here. Specifically, what's been going on with the Spurs themselves. We had some trades take place already with, the Indiana Pacers. You had the Portland Trailblazers sending CJ McCollum over to the Pelicans now. So now, that's going to be something to look for when Zion returns healthy. Now he's actually going to have somebody in the backcourt with him, and one CJ McCollum, who is a prolific scorer and shooter in his own right. So he's going to get some help. Maybe that changes the dynamic of the Pelicans moving forward. Me, unfortunately, I'm just sitting here watching all these other trades go down and praying that the Spurs can do something. Josh, what's been happening on the trade rumor mill?
I mean, so I wouldn't really be on the ledge quite yet. Just we're seeing the trades happening are, we saw what happened with Sabonis, his trade. It somebody, I think it was Jackson Floyd, that said on Twitter earlier that it probably would have taken like the price that they asked for. They got Halliburton for him, which I am very high on. It probably would have taken like Derek White, Devin Vassell, and a pick or something is what he said, and I wouldn't have wanted to do that.
Right.
So, I mean, these are just kind of moves. The Blazers are clearly blowing it up. They traded their second and third highest scorer this already for the season, and Dame is out. So their top three top scorers are out. So as far as the Spurs, though, I mean, the main thing still is Thaddeus. There was some stuff earlier about the Minnesota Timberwolves having interest, and of course, still Phoenix. I don't know why the whole Jalen Smith, Dario Saric pick for Thaddeus has been around since August and still hasn't happened. I
Nothing.
want it to happen by now.
Yeah.
But the Minnesota one is about, I think, Torian Prince and a second round
Yeah.
pick centered around that from Hoops
And there
Hype.
was an issue with that too. They said Torian Prince, if he did get traded to the Spurs, he would want to be bought out instantly and not even come with the team.
I mean, fine, go ahead. We'll take the pick. But I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe I would still take the Suns one over that, obviously, because Jalen Smith is a project, and it would only be less than $5 million for him. But
Wow.
I mean, but you take whatever you can get at this point for Thaddeus, because you're gonna get nothing otherwise. And I think it's a good thing that there are multiple offers, or at least inquiries about him.
At this point, I don't even think taking a couple second round picks for Thad is a bad deal because, again, it allows you to. It's still in the second round you can draft. Like I keep saying, you can draft for the need of the team versus best available player. And if you already have some second round draft picks already, which the Spurs are going to have some anyway, or at least a couple, one or two, and then they have two more, that can either be higher or lower. You can trade those and maybe move up, move down. Yeah, so a lot of flexibility there, but at this juncture, I think if they don't make a deal by the trade deadline, which is going to be on Thursday, the most likely scenario that's going to play out is they're going to wind up letting Thad walk. They're going to wind up buying him out and letting him go for nothing, and there goes what, a little bit over $14 million on the cap hit you're going to take by buying him out and letting him walk. That's the thing though. With that, a lot of Spurs fans get a little perturbed and they get a little bit upset because they want the Spurs to trade for that. And who's saying that they're not trying? But the problem is,
Yeah.
willing to go ahead and take on that salary and take that cap hit. It's more than just, hey, we're going to go ahead and give you this guy and we're going to take some picks in return. They might actually have to go ahead and get another team involved if the deal's going to work, because they got to go ahead and unload some players in order to make cap space to get one Thaddeus Young. So everything has a lot of moving pieces. So even though we want things to happen, the most likely scenario at this juncture to me is that they're going to wind up having to buy him out. And that says that that's not a very sexy move, for on the Spurs fans part.
Spurs for you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
happened already with DeMarre Carroll. It's happened already
Mhm.
with Gasol. And I know it looks bad on, the front office, and Spurs fans kind of question what they're doing at this point in time. But Vicky, if that's the scenario that we're looking at and they just wind up buying him out and letting him go, how is that going to sit with you?
I mean, it'll be a little frustrating, but I do think that that's probably just what's going to happen. I mean, they haven't been able to do anything to this point, or at least anything that we've heard of that is even remotely close to going through. So I feel like it's just going to end up happening. The deadline's going to pass, nothing big's going to happen. We're going to be stuck with him. Um, and yeah, I mean, I guess they don't really see they don't really seem to think that he has a place in the rotation. So I guess they're just gonna let him, buy out his stuff and let him go. And that's just gonna be the end of that. But it'll be a really sad season for him, I think, if that's the case, because he didn't get to do anything. And he, whenever he does play, he is a contributor. He does stuff. I don't know. I don't know exactly what other teams are asking. Um, but I guess, it's not what the Spurs are wanting to give. And
Yeah.
that's because they're asking for some of the young players, or I don't know. I mean, in the long run, it may be better for the Spurs not to go through with something that is just not completely going to make them happy anyway.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it has to make sense for both parties or even for three teams. If that's going to be the likely scenario, it has to make financial sense. You don't want to go ahead and start taking on salaries and giving up your future. That's the part that a lot of Spurs fans don't understand. They get cute with the trade machine, and in theory, things work out. Hey, why don't they do this? Because
Right.
trading for certain players now has become more expensive. It's just the way nature.
Yeah, they're like Thaddeus Young and Lonnie Walker for Ayton. Let's do it. It's like,
Oh, and then we have to throw
yeah.
in some first-round picks as well,
Exactly.
First-round picks. I'm like, you're giving away your
Nothing
future.
is that easy. Yes.
You
Yeah.
can't do it. But let's move on here and talk about.
hold on, Joe. We got to do this since all three of us are here. This is like a ritual at this point.
Okay.
There's something from The Athletic that I read just before we came on here that is from The
Oh,
Athletic.
no.
So it's from Sam Amick, and he's talking about how the Sixers could try to get Harden outright, and he mentions the Spurs with the
No
Simmons
way.
talk. Yes, and this was from today, so I feel
Oh.
like we have to cover this real quick. Let me read it to you, Joe. So he's talking about how the Harden could be signed outright by the Sixers, and he lays out a whole plan. And step one is that the Sixers would trade Simmons and the 3 seasons on his deal to a team with cap room in exchange for assets in return. So he mentions Detroit, Orlando, and the Spurs having space, and that the Rockets and the Grizzlies could get there fairly easily. So the Spurs would basically be facilitating, but also taking on Simmons. And so the talk is still not dead with Ben Simmons.
How is this still happening?
This is The Athletic.
Oh my gosh.
This is like a bad dream, a nightmare that you can't wake up from, man. Like,
Oh
And I
my
saw it just
gosh.
before I came on. I'm like, I have to just bring it up just for the novelty of it. Because
look, man,
why would the Spurs do this? But it's also
You already have an all-star in DeJounte Murray. You know,
That
he's
does what
on the
he does.
trajectory to be a really good player. Why
Yes.
on earth would you even want to consider Ben Simmons and then gutting the team basically in order to
Yeah.
wind up getting him because you have to. The numbers don't work financially. You
Yes.
have to say bye bye Keldon, bye bye Lonnie, bye bye everybody, and you'll probably wind up maybe even I don't know keeping one of the two, maybe get rid of Wieskamp or Primo. I mean, just to get
Man.
Ben Simmons, and
It's
how is
just
that going to
funny how
help
it
you?
will not die until at least Thursday.
Yeah,
At least
Yeah.
we only have a couple more days to hear about this.
I don't
yeah.
know what's gonna happen to him because I don't see him going anywhere. It doesn't look
Oh,
like anybody wants to get him.
I think
Nobody
Josh,
wants to pick him up.
yeah, I think Josh has a word of warning, a word of caution for some of these guys out there that are really quick, with the trigger there to try to retweet stuff. You want to verify everything before you retweet, especially
I
if you're
was
trolling,
this
you
was,
know,
I
Oh
think,
yeah.
Saturday
Talking about-
morning.
I forgot.
I
especially if
had
you're troll.
I hadn't put on my contacts and I'm like scrolling through and I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, cool." And then
I did forget about that. Yes, that was funny. I
thank
remember I
you.
had seen it and then but I was like in the car or something. So when I got home, I'm like, let me see if it's still there.
I
Yeah.
And
was
yeah,
like, "What is he talking about?" And then I reread it and I was like, "Oh."
yeah, basically Vicky retweeted something. I forgot who it was, but he said that
I don't know
if you
who it
don't think
was.
Simmons would be one of the best Spurs ever, then you're
He
not
was
paying
like, "If
attention.
you think Simmons wouldn't be one of the best players on the Spurs, then you are I don't know what you've been watching." And I thought he said, "If you think Simmons would be one of the best players on the Spurs."
I mean,
I don't know
he
what you've
would
been
be one of
watching.
the best current ones, obviously, but I think this was saying a little bit more, maybe like best Spurs ever or something. So
Best
I was
Spur of
like,
all time or
could have been
something, yeah.
Something crazy. And
yeah.
then I saw somebody else, one of the trolls, the bona fide trolls
Oh,
that all
no.
first Twitter was beefing with yesterday. He went ahead and retweeted something that was not legit, and I thought it was kind of funny.
Oh,
It's
no.
like the troll got had. You might want to check the tweet before you tweet it out. You know,
It was like a
uh,
parody or like
yeah, it's a joke.
Just fake
Joke,
ones, like
you
Legion
know,
Boots.
yeah.
Oh.
I'm just like you might want to
Oh.
verify before you tweet something out. So be careful if you're out there and wanting to tweet something, Spurs fans. Make sure it's legit.
Careful with
And
your
look-
sources. That
Yes.
goes
yeah,
for reporters too, that like to just throw 100
Yes.
things at the wall and then one sticks and they brag.
yes, I
Exactly.
saw that as well. Like you threw a whole bunch of scenarios
Yeah.
out there, 20, 30, and then one stuck, and
I
I'm right.
Yeah.
saw one in particular where he had Sabonis
Very
going
funny.
to 5 different teams, like
Yeah.
speculation, and then one of them ended up right, and he said, "You guys called me
Right.
Oh, I
fake."
called it. Yeah.
I'm legit.
Hate when they
I
do
have
that.
sources. My
Yeah.
favorite one is this, Josh. I have sources. No, you don't.
Sources, Shams, and Woj
My
like the rest of us.
sources tell me yeah, exactly.
Unless you're rocking five phones like Woj is, you got sources, man. If you're just a
Yes.
guy behind a keyboard, no mames, dude. Just stop. Just stop it. Stop it. You just name your sources out per Shams, per Woj,
Yes,
per
Yeah,
whoever you got it. That's all good, man. I got sources.
exactly.
Oh my god. But
ridiculous.
moving forward here, we're gonna go ahead and talk about Zach Collins. He made his return back to the lineup, and that was a big deal. And he had a decent game at that, and he
Yeah.
looked great out there. He looked a little shaky in the beginning, getting some of those jitters out of the way. He was a little nervous, even he admitted when he came back for his first game. But then he calmed down and he just looked great out there. He looked like a solid backup center to one Jakob Poeltl. So this begs the question that I'm going to ask you guys. Now that you're going to probably see Zach Collins in the lineup, he's going to probably be the second option to one Jakob Poeltl, which is great. It helps the team tremendously. That's going to leave Drew Eubanks as that third option. Not saying that that's a bad thing. It's a good thing, but do you think it's going to cause any issues, Vicky, now that we know that Zach is going to be the second option with Drew being the third, probably coming off the bench in garbage minutes?
I mean, I like Drew Eubanks, but I hope he realizes that that's kind of where he needs to be. If it causes some sort of like you mean like friction or something like that, or
Who knows? Maybe
what?
he might just get disgruntled and be like, want more minutes, you know?
Demand
I
a
mean, I
trade.
don't. Yeah, demand a trade. I don't think the Spurs would like blink twice, having to like, sorry, you're just not there. I mean, I like him. He's cool and everything, but I think he knows that he, was kind of lucky in that spot right now. And obviously, Zach Collins is going to be, yeah, he's going to be doing a lot more for the team, at least from what he showed the other night. And I'm super excited to see that because I think finally the Spurs have some relief for Jakob that is not going to completely, throw the team off whenever he's not playing. And not
Implode.
that happens all the time, but that's what seems to happen.
Hey, to
Jakob's
Drew's
not in.
credit, he's had some good games though, Vicky.
Oh
He
yeah,
has. He has. I
and
mean,
it's tough to
he
talk
deserves
about,
credit.
like, to trash him because he puts in all the effort and he
He
has some
does.
highlight plays and he's very athletic. But at the same time, when there's only so many times you can fumble an entry pass out of bounds or throw it directly to the other team or
Yeah.
just kind of come in and not be able to box out, like do basic
Right.
stuff. And I mean, it sucks to say that because we all like him and we all wish him the best and everything.
Yeah.
But at this point, it should be, Jakob and then Collins and then Jock, then
Mhm.
Kcock, probably Thaddeus Young, and then
Oh,
Yeah.
Eubanks. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's just when you base it on performance and how the team struggles when certain people are out there and some aren't, then the writing's
Yeah.
on the wall with him, and I think he probably knows that, and he can still fill a role. He's definitely an NBA player. I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
that, he's the worst player ever, but he just right now with Collins back, it's kind of probably going to be him at the end of the bench at this point.
Yeah.
so it is what it is at this point. I think the writing's on the wall there, especially that you have Jock Landale who's come along and shown that he's good for limited minutes. They're not going to play him a whole lot out there, but when he does come in, he's able to contribute, knock down a three, maybe get some rebounds and do some of the little grunt work, the dirty work that goes unseen. And I like the kid. I think he's a solid addition as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see what's going to happen with the Spurs moving forward as they start this Rodeo Road Trip, which is going to start tomorrow against the Cleveland Cavaliers. It is an 8-game road trip, and right now the San Antonio Spurs currently are 12th in the Western Conference. They were a full game behind the 10th seeded Pelicans and the 11th seeded Portland Trailblazers. And they're still a little bit of ways. I mean, the Spurs are still in the hunt for that play-in game. Once you get above 10, there's some separation there. You have the Lakers who have 26 wins. That shows that everybody that's 9, 10 through 12, they're right in the thick of things. They're the bottom feeders right now, and that includes the San Antonio Spurs as well. So that's what we're working with. That's what we're working with. The Spurs can go ahead and increase their chances of getting into the coveted play-in game if they can have a winning record on the Rodeo Road Trip. I know Vicky and me kind of gave our predictions. I said they're going to go 2-6. I still stand behind that. I can only see them possibly beating Oklahoma, and I said maybe they could get a game against the Wizards. I don't know if the Wizards against the Pelicans, but that's a big maybe. I looked at the Wizards game and I didn't want to fall for that. I think that's a trap game. I don't see the Spurs winning that game,
It's
even
a
though
trap.
it's a trap game. You would think that
It's a trap.
they're going to win. No, so 2-6 is reasonable to me. Josh, what are you thinking as far as the record goes?
I think that's a safe bet, honestly. I'll maybe 3-5 is attainable if they can.
That's what I
I'm looking at their schedule right now here. I could see, the Pelicans should hopefully be one. The Thunder, like you said,
Hopefully,
I'll give them Wizards also. I mean,
it's a trap game.
Beal being out. I mean, true. They did play with, forgot who they just lost to recently. That the Warriors had literally everybody sit out, and they still lost.
Team and the Spurs still lost going into the fourth quarter with the lead.
I'll probably agree with you. I'll agree with you for once, Joe, and say
for once.
Because honestly, I've shifted my expectation and what I hope to happen for the rest of the season. I even published something
Really?
about this, and maybe if you have this mindset, it'll help get through the rest of the season.
You're
But
talking me off the ledge, Josh.
yeah, here you go, Joe. So I think the ideal number of wins they should finish this season with is 29, and there's a few reasons for that.
Ooh.
And they're at 20 right. Wait, they're at 20 right now, right? So
Well, I didn't need to
Yeah.
read your fancy words, Josh, because I had already said before the season started it's going to be 28 or 30.
there
But
you go. So
yeah,
29 would give them, obviously, give Pop the record, which is great. It also would probably still have them in the lottery for sure, in the lottery teams, pretty low up there, maybe one of the top 7-8 picks. And it would also beat the Vegas odds before the season of 28.5 wins. So it kind of is that point of pride for that. Is, I thought that was very insulting that it was that low at the time, but now it looks realistic.
Yeah.
Of course, there is COVID and all that stuff that kind of messed things up, but I think nine to get 9 more in what they still have. They're at 54 games right now, so another 28 or so. It's very doable. So I mean, they could do that on the road trip and still just have 7 left, and I think that'll be good for the team as a whole because it accomplishes a lot and still sets them up for the future.
it does, but
It'll be not fun to watch.
no, not by any
Right.
this whole season hasn't been fun to watch, but the thing is, you still find things to cheer for, even though the Spurs are doing
Right.
what they are doing, because you're looking at the growth of the younger core, and essentially that's going to be the measurement that you're going to go ahead and look at to see how well they're going to do in the next season. In other words, let's see
Mhm.
how Devin Vassell's growing. Let's go ahead and take a look at. You've seen DeJounte mean he can possibly be in the hunt right now for probably most improved player, I would
I
think, in the
think
NBA,
so. Now, especially. Yeah.
Of course, yeah, now that he's got the NBA, not even more so. So you see some good things happening out there. Keldon's three-point shot has gotten a lot better. The corner
It's
three,
looking
he's top
good.
in the league. So I mean, they're starting to put some things together. They're still trying to figure things out, but as long as you see the improvement and you can see these games getting a little bit closer, but they're still losing, I'm fine with the losses as long as we can see some growth. And hey, if they try to win and they lose, it's not a bad thing, because if you lose and
Right.
you get that top 5 pick, it's a win, for you as a team. So I'm here for it, man. I'm a Spurs fan through and through, and I think we all are, and we just hope that everybody stays healthy. I think that's the important thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and start bringing this show to a close, but let's go ahead and recognize our good friend Wesley Perkins here, who's watching on Facebook. He says, "What's up, y'all?" He also says, "DJ's an all-star, awesome. Hate to see Sabonis not go to the Spurs way. I mean, it's not going to happen.
Would it cost too much?
Way too much." Wesley's prediction is 1-7 on the road trip. Frank Ramirez is watching, and he says he thinks the Spurs are going to win 29 games.
There you go.
Okay.
This guy agrees. He knows what's up.
If they win less, it's not a bad thing, because you increase your chances of going up in the
Yeah.
draft. So
Just get
Win-win.
26. That's really the 26
Yes.
is the pop number. So that's
Yeah.
fine with me too. But I just wanted to beat Vegas.
yeah, exactly. So
Yes.
as we bring the show to a close here, we're going to go ahead and show where they can follow you guys on social media. We'll start with you, Vicky. If you want to go ahead and follow the Vicky Vic. I don't think I put your information on here.
No, I was getting ready.
And I'm like, you know what? I didn't put you on here because I have you on the other one for Spurs Rewind.
Oh no. Oh yeah, the fancy one.
That right now. You can pitch that right now. So let me go ahead and get your profile real quick.
Josh
already
has
have-
it. Right?
No,
Josh.
that's all right. I forgot if you have an X or a CK.
Oh, X. It's an
There you go. Oh,
Vicky
now I messed it up.
The Vicky Vicks, like the Vicks that you put on yourself when you.
No.
No, it's the opposite of that.
No, it's Vix with X.
You can see where I tried to put
There.
CK, so it's
Now,
at the
here it
Vicky
is,
Vicks.
Vicky. Look at
There. That's it.
There you go.
I put even misspelled it. Let me fix that again.
Oh my gosh.
I think you had it right. Didn't you?
No, I put
You had it. You had it.
me see.
You're in your own head because I'm
Oh,
always calling you out, Joe.
Yeah.
I thought I
That's
spelled her name
right.
wrong. Yeah.
No,
Follow
that's it.
Vicky.
There
Nailed
we
it.
go.
At Vicky Vix.
Well, you
You can
follow on Vicky on, but it's close.
Yeah.
see, I told you I misspelled something. I know I did.
That's the part.
Trying too hard.
Still, wouldn't have been a
We
show
get it.
without it.
Yeah. So then here we go. We can follow Josh as well. You see, follow Josh on Twitter at
Yes.
Josh810. You make sure you go follow Josh and go and read all
There we
his great
go.
stuff that he has written over there for Air Alamo. They really do crank out a lot of great articles out there. And also, Josh is a great follow because he releases a lot of great, insightful information. And I like Josh a lot because he goes ahead and does a lot of unique content. And one of those things is his trick shots. So make sure you
Yeah.
just for the trick shots alone, go and follow
I do
Josh.
those on game days, by the way, in case you don't know the
Yep.
formula. So
I'm looking
I
for you
also,
to do the
I
Dougie
also,
McBuckets reverse layup. I'm waiting
oh
for
yeah,
that.
maybe I can
Yes.
try that tomorrow. But yeah,
That's a
follow
good
me if you
one.
want to see me tweet what the Spurs are going to tweet later on.
I was gonna say, for the tweet, the Spurs will tweet.
Well, now when I need a good GIF or I need something, I'm gonna go copy Josh and just change one thing and just take credit.
Right? Swear. I need to start
Put
making my things
Spurs
like
Nation.
or something.
Just give the RT Spurs RT that, please.
Yeah.
And you can also follow me on Two Shots Podcast, all spelled out TWO, Two Shots Podcast. And I will talk with you about anything going on in the world of sports or, the world of basketball for that matter. So for Josh Paredes and Vicky Vix, I'm Joe Garcia. Thank you guys for watching and listening to another episode of the Two Shots Podcast. And like we always say, spread the love, stop the hate, be kind. We're out. Peace.